Hello and welcome to the Now What Next Steps podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. Hey, if you are listening for the first time, welcome. We want to remind you that if you haven't listened to the sermon yet from this past week, this past Sunday, to press that pause button, smash that pause button, and head back and listen to the sermon, because this podcast probably won't make that much sense unless you listen to the sermon. So you're still here, which means you listened, and we're glad you're here for the Now What Next Steps podcast. It's me, Joel, and we have...
My name's Andy. Good to meet you. Good to see you. Hopefully you're listening, and also you're watching on YouTube. You can watch this.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's also a video podcast. So hi, if you're watching.
Hello.
Really good stuff. We're up in our new podcast studio in the sanctuary.
Love this environment, Joel.
It's super
really
cool.
Great. Yeah.
Oh man,
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was fun because we're testing out some new microphones, so we get some quality up, and you want to listen to it a little bit more, share it with your friends, not be embarrassed or anything like that. And we're sitting here, and Andy's doing his radio impersonation voice.
Hello, everybody. KZSD here. If you're on the road in LA County, I can't even do it. You're the radio guy.
Hey, and welcome to Malibu Pacific Church.
There it is, everybody. There it is.
You're listening to Andy and the Joel.
There you go. I love it.
Anyways, you're still here, so hey, let's dive into this week's sermon and Sunday service. This week, it was not a one-off, but we're celebrating our volunteers. We were wearing T-shirts that said, "We love our volunteers." We had a goodie bag that I absolutely love. Did you get to see the goodie bag?
I saw it and got tons of comments.
Yes.
And so hopefully you're enjoying your goodie bag. And if you start volunteering, that we'll talk about, you'll get one of those bags.
Absolutely. It was a really amazing tote bag. And then there was a tumbler in it. And there was a bottle of secret sauce, which we're going to talk about.
Right.
Which was really fun.
Where did you find that? Where did you find the secret sauce?
I know people. I have a guy.
Great. I want that secret sauce. I didn't get that bag.
I know.
I'm not a volunteer. Yeah,
my daughter got one, and I was like, "How'd you get one?" And she's like,
Hello.
"Oh, I do the tech for children's ministries." So Miss
Right.
Kelly gave me one.
She does.
And guess what? She's using the water bottle for basketball today, and she was so excited to show everybody.
I love that she's volunteering.
Yeah.
And Kelly loves having her in there as her tech person. I don't know who trained her or coached her in the tech environment.
Probably her
She's
mom.
Great. Oh, it's Joel, everybody.
Yeah, it's me. It's
really.
me, my daughter, yeah.
But let me just say this. Great job, Joel and Shannon, for encouraging your daughter to serve. I just love that. That's an imprint on her life for the rest of her life.
She absolutely loves this place. It's like her backyard. Well, it is her backyard, kind of. But she absolutely loves serving here. She comes up with me and says, "How can I help? What can I do?" And she'll run cables. She'll have comments. She watches every single Malibu Plus children's video out there.
Wow.
And just absolutely loves it. She rocks her Malibu Pacific Kids T-shirt. And is just a light to all the other kids at Webster, too, inviting them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and she's really excited to go to youth group next year because she said, "I'm going to bring so many friends." And I'm come on.
Too good. But the thing that I love that's happening in her is that she's finding out early in her life that it's not about her, that she's discovering her purpose. She's not going to waste 10, 20 years of her life going, "I don't know what I should do and what does God want for my life." God's already speaking to her at that young age. I just love that. I wish every adult could be learning the lessons she's learning.
I wish Paisley, her younger daughter, was learning this. No, that's happening. Paisley's asking, I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. So it's pretty great. Okay, so we love our volunteers. Andy, where did this whole thought process come from to spend a whole Sunday just thanking volunteers? And how is that a worship service?
Well, I know, and people are like, I think we heard a couple of comments. What does it have to do with Jesus? But the passage we use is Matthew 14, where Jesus has a problem with the disciples, with the 5,000 men and probably 10,000, 12,000 people total, that he said they were hungry. And at the end of the day, there are no McDonald's in the ancient world. So how are you going to feed 10 to 12,000 people? That's hard enough today. Imagine that in the ancient world with no fast food. So Jesus said, "You feed them." And they're like, "Well, we can't do anything." But Jesus wants to partner with us in ministry. That's how we grow our faith. And the one thing that God cares about is growing our faith. So nothing, I think, grows our faith like serving others. And so it's helping us become more like Jesus and Jesus followers.
Absolutely.
Because Jesus even said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it's kind of an important lesson for all of us. And I also wanted people to hear why they love this place and why they love coming here and why they love telling their friends about Malibu Pacific Church. The secret sauce is our volunteers, our people serving. That's what makes this place great.
Absolutely. I was talking with somebody and they're like, well, the secret sauce is Jesus. I'm like, well, secret sauce isn't a meal. The meat is. Jesus is the meat. Secret sauce, gets used on it to amplify. Anyways, so.
Well, no, that's a great point. Yeah. You may wonder or ask that, but when Jesus said, I will build my church, the ecclesia, that's people. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am. That is the body of Christ.
Totally.
So I don't really quite understand that you're separating being a part of the body and serving in the body. That is being Jesus. We are the hands and the feet of Jesus. So you're like, well, where's Jesus? Well, I think that person completely missed the point of that whole passage and what Jesus is trying to do.
Yeah.
Because then he's saying, I'm leaving and I'm going to leave it to you to build my church. And we're here today because of how Jesus equipped the disciples to go and do ministry and become the hands and feet of Jesus. So when you and I are serving in the name of Jesus and worshiping in the name of Jesus, there is Jesus.
Yeah.
He's just saying, Jesus is saying, I want to partner with you and let's, be the body of Christ. And so when maybe you can help me. I don't quite understand separating that passage. That passage is all about Jesus and what Jesus is doing.
Yeah.
So that people can experience Jesus through people.
Totally. I think that's the step that might be missed right there, where it's like, no, Jesus is separate and going to be Jesus, its own thing, not Jesus working through me. And I think that's the major step that's probably being missed, where that is the secret sauce right there.
That's it.
It's not just us serving for serving's sake. It's because Jesus called us to serve that life change happens inside of that.
And they're experiencing Jesus through us.
Exactly. And that's the secret sauce. Not just us raising our hand and saying, oh yeah, I'll serve here. But it's like actual life-changing transformation that's happening. Yeah.
So I think that's a good insight, but sort of not quite. Maybe I didn't do well, and that's why we're having the podcast, connecting the dots. But that passage is all about Jesus and how Jesus is wanting people to experience him and inviting all of us to participate in the mission of Jesus and be Jesus to other people.
Absolutely.
So when they were handing out the food in the baskets, the disciples were experiencing a miracle in that moment, like Jesus is who he is. So their faith grew in him. And they were also being Jesus. Yeah. A multiplication that they were passing it out in the name of Jesus. They're passing out the food. So they're experiencing, and everybody, I love that part, last verse, and everybody was satisfied.
Totally. Yeah.
So the way we meet the needs of the people in the church and be Jesus to one another and experience Jesus is by all of us serving.
Yep. And there was leftovers, and they experienced the miracle right there. And then continuation of the story, what happens? They get in the boat. Like, it's just like...
That's right.
Like, that's what... They experienced a miracle, and then Peter gets, called out of the boat, and he's still sunk. Like, he still experienced all these miracles with Jesus and still was like, I don't know. And Jesus was immediately there. Yeah. So even if you're serving and it doesn't necessarily go your way or you feel like you're not gifted in that area... Just take a step. Take a step. Jesus will be there immediately.
That's it.
Yeah. So there was a video that was shown inside of the service talking about our volunteers, and we asked the question, why do you serve? We cut that together, and there's actually probably 6 or 7 more of them. The video it wasn't getting long by any means, but if we shared all of them, it'd be 10, 15 minutes. And and it'd be great. We'll have a director's cut, I guess, and show every single one.
Perfect.
If you want to see that. But I want you guys to check that out on our YouTube channel, Instagram, our TikTok channel, or on the app or website, MalibuPacific.Church/volunteer. It's amazing, amazing video of some behind-the-scenes stuff that happens here with our volunteers, asking them why they serve. A couple of them, they just want to see life change happen in other people. Some of them are really funny, you know, like there was one that I think there's a guy by the name of Chuck,
Chuck
working in the children's area.
ministry.
Yeah,
That was
it
great.
was great. So why do you volunteer? Because I like to scissor or something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, great, that's awesome. And then he has a kid, you know, with a sticker over
his mouth.
It's like,
Yeah,
this is great. This is how we do children's ministry. It's fun. It's fun to serve along friends, and you become friends when you're serving along each other. So Andy, what is one of your favorite places to serve in the church?
I'm a doer. I'm an activator. I actually love working out in the yard, believe it or not, or I love moving furniture or cleaning something, or I'm good at getting rid of stuff, throwing stuff in the trash. Churches are notorious for gathering junk in hallways. I don't know how it happens.
It's called junk for Jesus.
Yes, people just drop it off, but it bugs the heck out of me. When I walk into a church, I want to clean because it's not your home. It's a public place.
Yeah.
And first impressions, the environments you create are really important. It says something. And so, anyway, I'm an activator. We have the father-daughter dance this weekend. I'm volunteering to help Chris and Kyle. Kyle's a member of our church who's an electrician. We're going to be out there setting up lights, pulling out chairs, getting furniture out. I just love that. I love barbecuing. And so I'm volunteering and say, hey, we're doing hot dogs on Sunday. Hey, put me on the grill. I'm there.
Amazing.
So those are just things I enjoy. I would do those things whether I was a paid Christian or not, whether I was on staff or not.
Yeah.
It would be Malibu Pacific Church is my church. How can I help? You need a barbecue? I'm on it. Yeah. You need somebody to help set up? I'm there.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm an activator, so I enjoy outdoors. I enjoy working in the yard. I do that at home or I would do it at church. But if it's physical, we typically find that that's true for men. A lot of things that we have in churches could be, you would say, church is for women. But men need stuff to do as well. And they love things that are using their hands or it's active and it's physical.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about ministry, I hope men and women, when we find a place for you or you're starting to jump in, that's typically like, hey, how can I help? Let me build something.
Yeah.
And guys want to do that.
Totally. Or demo something too.
Or let's tear it up. Yeah, let's destroy it. Exactly. Yeah, but that's just where I'm at. And that's what I love to do. And I would do that whether I was on staff or not. Those are my volunteer hours.
Nice.
For anybody who's in ministry listening to this, I think it's really important if you're on staff, find out how many hours the church is paying you.
Yeah.
But not abuse you, but what is your 3, 4, 5 hours? If we're asking that of volunteers, they're working a full week, and we're asking them to come volunteer. Well, what are my 3, 4, 5 hours of volunteer in the church? That I'm not expecting the church to pay me.
Totally.
I would do it whether I was on staff or not.
Yeah.
So if I'm working down at McDonald's and church says, hey, we need help with father-daughter dance, I'd come down and volunteer.
Yep.
So I just think it's important for all of those of us also in ministry that we walk the talk. We not only ask people to volunteer, but we also would volunteer. Now, in churches, we have a tendency we can abuse people in ministry and say, have these 100-hour work weeks. And those pastors were like, that's a sign of how spiritual I am. And I'm working and I not abuse family, but I have no boundaries and I'm working 100 hours and I neglect my family is what I was just thinking about. No, that's not healthy. That's not what we're talking about.
Totally. It needs that balance. I think that if your kids are in love with the local church, then you're doing it well.
Oh.
Like, that's the thing.
Oh.
And I think that's
say more about that.
That's a clear sign. I've just seen I've had so many friends who kids have just like, I hate the church because the church is taken from me.
My mom or dad's time in their life.
Yeah.
That is more important than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. No, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But do something that you enjoy and bring your kids along. Totally. Kelly and I always did that. We had the kids, let's go. We're going down to the church. We're going to go help. And they jumped in and we're a part of it. So I think it's important for kids. Maybe that's where your daughter's seeing it. Watching parents serving, you're modeling that for them. So another question is, what are you modeling for your kids for the next generation?
Yeah, that's a great question.
But this is a family church, so kids and mom and dads or whoever, uncles, aunts, grandma and grandpas, bring the grandkids down. And just give them a hammer or something. I don't know. Help them come and serve.
Absolutely. And if you don't have kids, how are you modeling it to your friends too? Because I've seen people who don't have kids that, they go, well, the church is just asking me to do, 30 to 40 hours and I'm not getting paid and this and all those things. And it's like, well, we don't ever want to abuse. We want to encourage, equip people to do ministry.
But I think that's one of the fears. That's one of the fears of serving or volunteering. Once I sign up, I'm going to have to do this for the next 30 years. That was in the old church world.
Yeah,
I'll help in the Sunday school, and you're there for the next 30 years.
Blink of an eye. They've been there for 45, and they're going strong.
We do not want to do that here, and we're not set up for that. We have rotating teams.
Yes.
We want our volunteers to take the summer off,
totally,
especially in the children's environments.
Yep.
We'll shut down even student ministries for a couple months and have them, worship outside, and even our kids, everybody outside for a month so that we can give a break for all of our volunteers.
We even have an online service from time to time that we don't meet on site for that Sunday so that we can have margin.
Yeah, we've had a few complaints. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Of, hey, you're canceling church. No, we're not canceling church. We're moving it to online. Why? To give our volunteers a break. Yeah. So the people who usually complain about that are the ones not volunteering.
Oh.
And we want to have quality in our environment. So if Kelly or Cindy Ludwig and our children or youth or Shannon, it takes a lot of volunteers to make that work.
Absolutely.
And when they're down to one volunteer that Sunday, the 4th of July weekend, and everybody's gone, hey, put it online and everybody watch it. They're gone anyway. People are gone anyway, so watch it when you can and be a part of it.
Totally. And it's not going to be bad quality. We're going to have a really
good service. Yeah. So we don't want you to have a bad experience that Sunday because we didn't have any volunteers in those environments. So we're not just saying, let's not meet in person because the staff want to take it off. We're here. We're good to go. I don't know. But we want to give our volunteers a break.
Absolutely. I love that in the middle of the sermon, you mentioned all the different environments and what it takes volunteer-wise. I just kind of looked around the room at that moment, and some light bulbs I felt like were going off. It's like, oh yeah, there actually are a lot of moving components to this. It's not just, hey, preacher boy, go up there and preach a thing, tell me I did something bad, and then play a song and let's go home. It's like, no, from the parking lot, we are equipping people. We are training people to come say hi and to get you into the right place so that you can just relax as soon as you get here, whether that's on site or online. And in all those environments you started talking about, right there, there's the students. There's right there, we have a greeter. It's usually this guy, Jim. He's there. He's saying hi to every single person who walks onto this campus.
And Sunday, he left his post. I was very upset with him.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really bad. He was showing people around.
They're not supposed to do that.
No, yeah.
They're supposed to point.
I'm joking, everybody. He came up, he introduced 2 new families to me. He says, hey, and he was taking them. He didn't point. He actually was taking them to the children's environments and making sure they got checked in and introducing them to different people and make sure they got a coffee and a donut and then took them over to the children's environment. I was like, Jim gets the Volunteer of the Year award because it was so hospitable. It was unbelievable. So I really appreciated. Yeah, he left his post though.
Okay, so we'll work on.
We'll have a conversation with him. No, we're just kidding, everybody. That's the way to do it. I've just so appreciated it. It was great.
If a new person walks on this campus and they walk away saying, "Wow, the hospitality there! I cannot believe that." I think that could be one of the greatest wins for a next step story.
Well, people are making a decision within 5-6 minutes. Some, you may know more, some research people who are doing marketing say you have 6 seconds. It's a little Freudian, I think. That people are making decisions in 6 seconds on whether or not they're coming back to a restaurant, a business, I don't know, anything, wherever they go.
Yeah.
Any business they walk into. So a church, people are making a decision. Let's say it's 5 minutes. Let's just go with that. So we have 5 minutes. They haven't heard the music. They haven't heard the sermon.
Yep.
They haven't. But with Jim, in 5 minutes, I promise you, they're saying just that.
Yeah.
Wow, this place really welcomed me. I feel at home. They took care of me. They love me.
Yeah.
I want to come back.
Totally.
So we'll be back next week, which is a win for us. The visitors come back with a friend the next week. So we're looking for that.
You might hear some of us say that a certain position or a certain place to volunteer is the most important place. And I've had people comment to me, it's like, well, why do you say that it's the most important in the student ministry? Or why did Andy say it's the most important in the children's? I'm like, I don't know if you hear this, but we say everything is the most important. Like that's kind of the not the joke, but like the gist of it is that if there's a family that has kids, yes, the children's ministry is probably going to be the most important
for them. Yes,
exactly. And on top of that, you have somebody who's single that walks through the door. Just being greeted, being here alone by themselves, having a gym out there, saying hi and walking them to the sanctuary, or to a coffee and donut to greet somebody else and make a friend, that is the most important.
That's right.
The Sunday service and what happens inside of the sanctuary, all those components is the most important because you never know. Andy shares the story of somebody, a wife praying for a husband for 6 or 7 years and just praying and praying and praying to come to church, come back and find the Lord. And we only have one shot, only have one shot. So if there's something really cringy or weird that happens inside of the service, the husband's out. You lose him.
That's right.
Right? And so everything is the most important with all of these different components.
And every Sunday is somebody's first Sunday.
Yes, it is.
I think you and I, and this is insider talk, have said, I don't know, it's Labor Day weekend. There's not going to be that many people here. Totally. It's just okay. And I get into that. It's just not going to be that many people here. And then guess what? That's the weekend that we get a bunch of visitors.
Yep.
And that's the weekend that is the most important because every Sunday is somebody's first Sunday. So every weekend matters and every environment matters.
Absolutely. But really, what is the most important one?
Everything is important.
It is,
but I would say on a Sunday, it really is, the two environments of our student environments and our children's environments, obviously. But I would just say that our hospitality guest service team, if any pastors are listening to this, that would be the one area that I would really highly encourage pastors and churches to focus on. They're like, why aren't we growing, or why aren't people coming back? Well, I would just point you to those first 5 minutes. They've made a first impression.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do to change that first impression?
Totally.
Because in 5 minutes, they're deciding whether or not they're coming back, and they didn't hear the music and they didn't hear the sermon. Mm-hmm. This may be sacrilegious here. I heard it several years ago from Andy Stanley, and it was just really helpful. Mm-hmm. My sermon is not the place of discipleship.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's not. It's our small groups.
Absolutely.
My sermon, this totally revolutionized the way I see what I do on Sunday morning. I'm just trying to create enough curiosity to help people lean in a little bit and say, I want to take the next step. Mm-hmm. Because now we can take them on a spiritual growth journey to following Jesus.
Yeah.
And if you're dependent on me on a Sunday morning, it's just not happening. It can't happen in 30 minutes when I'm talking to you or at you.
Yep.
That's just not life change. You're getting some information, but
I
heard last week there was an ECO conference, which is the denomination that we're a part of, and one of the speakers, he was the pastor up in Portland. I forgot his name right now.
Comer?
Yes. He said this: we've done really well in the church in America to help people find Jesus or to become a Christian. We've done a horrible job in making disciples or followers of Jesus, which is what we've been talking about. How do we help people be followers of Jesus? They're not disciples of Jesus.
Oh.
They found Jesus, they're Christian, but they're not followers of Jesus.
Oh.
They're not disciples. They're not followers of Jesus. And and that's what Jesus said, come follow me, be my disciple. Yep. That's the invitation.
Yeah.
Jesus never had an altar call. It just didn't happen. So, but he said, come follow me.
Yeah.
And let's start the journey together. So I think really, I don't know, the church in America has done a great job and say, hey, and I think Billy Graham did a great job in helping people find Jesus. But since then, we have not done well in helping to make disciples or spiritually mature Christians. So that's what I want to do on Sunday morning.
Totally. Yeah.
To encourage people to take a step.
Absolutely. To have some critical thinking and go into a small group and actually ask some questions of that next step. Instead of sitting back and critiquing, it's more like that made me think. Let me think with other people, and take some next steps with people. One of my that's a really great point. Hey, get into a small group if you're not in a small group.
ASAP.
Serious. I'm telling you, I'm in a small group. We had one. We do it every other week, and we signed on. Ready for this? We have an end date as well in our small group. We signed on for 2 years, and it's every other week, and we don't meet during summers. And I'm telling you, it's twice a month. Super life-giving. Find new friends. If you want to join a small group, we're open every other Wednesday. Come talk to me, Joel. And I'd love to get you plugged in. Okay, so one of my favorite moments from Sunday morning, we had a new I think couple walk in right as you went to the cult slide, and so Andy was like, "Let's define a cult," and they're walking in, and I'm just kind of in the back, and I'm greeting them, and they're like, "Oh, so is this kind of church?" And I was like, "No, it's." I promise.
Just listen in. Yeah, you gotta listen to the whole thing.
Exactly. It was just one of those perfect moments of I could have been planned better. But yeah, what made you bring up that slide, that definition in that moment?
Well, because I hear that all the time, and I've heard it for years. Actually, totally. That place is a cult because somebody who doesn't attend church, their perception of church is that it's boring. You have to do it. It's what church people do.
Yes.
And those church people are kind of religious, so they're kind of cultish anyway.
Yep.
So there's already that assumption. So if anybody goes out into the community and says, "Man, I'm going to this church. I'm going to Malibu Pacific Church. I love it. It's incredible. You got to come with me." It's like, oh, what? You're enjoying it? And you're serving there? And they're asking you? And
are you brainwashed?
Yeah, are you brainwashed?
Yeah.
So the typical response is those are cultish, like you're trying to be an advocate for this group that's like kind of nutty, or so that's why I've heard of that. That is a cult there, because there's no way that anybody would enjoy church.
Yeah,
and you're an advocate, you're an evangelist for it.
Totally, I get that all the time on the soccer field, basketball court. They're like, "Wait, you work at a church? You don't seem like you work at a church," and I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, cool, yeah, I take it as a compliment, because they're like, you're just so normal, and I'm like, I know a lot of people that are at my church that are very normal, and come join in, and I have a win. Ready for this?
Yeah.
One of the people from our soccer team, she was here on Sunday. So if you're listening, really glad you're here.
Whoa, all right.
And she loved the service, and she said she's coming back next week.
Great.
So yeah, it was just really great seeing that family. So
that's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
But that's people's perception of the church. It's a cult.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Fun times. I was at a concert on Saturday night here in Malibu, Aviator Nation, and I had somebody actually ask me. They're like, "Wait, you're allowed to go to concerts? I thought you worked at a church."
That's so. I don't know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. So then I did a line of cocaine, and I'm just
I'm just to fit in.
Just to fit in. It's Malibu. I want to be of the people.
Right.
No, I'm totally kidding.
It's just interesting how people have. Yeah, if you're a Christian, don't be weird. Just be normal, please. Just be normal.
Take one thing away from this podcast today. Don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Yeah.
Let's just love people, love them where they're at, and be friends. And we're normal people. We're on a journey, and we're forgiven, and Jesus loves us and called us to love others. Let's just love other people.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a next step to volunteer here, you get your goodie bag, and on top of that, your life gets changed, other people's life gets changed, and Jesus works through you. So don't miss out on that. I mean, really, volunteering with friends and at the church, I know has changed my life. I started playing music at church when I was in junior high, and then started leading through volunteer, and then became the worship leader at my church when I was in high school. And it was pretty amazing, and that was a life-changing story for me, because people equipped me and trusted me and helped me lead a ministry and sharpen up on guitar skills and things like that. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know any music, don't worry. There's something that you can find here at Malibu Pacific Church. We need giftings all over the place. Whether that's like, I know you know how to read, so you could read to a kid. I love when Andy said, you don't know how to hold a baby? We will teach you. And I'm having a baby soon. Well, not me personally, my wife. And you can hold my baby. That's fine. Well, that could be the tester. It's okay.
There you go. I got a tester baby.
Yeah, exactly. We'll sign the legal stuff. It's cool. I'm just kidding. But we really want you to find your place here. Like, that's what really matters too, because Jesus is going to do a mighty work through you, in you, and around you too. So experience that here at Malibu Pacific Church.
It's time to experience the miracle.
Absolutely. If there's one last thing that you could share about we love our volunteers in this past Sunday, what would that be, Andy?
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
thank you for serving. Just thank you for serving.
Yes.
And we're just so grateful to the people. They really are the secret sauce, that they are opening themselves up, giving a little bit of time that's going to make an impact in a generation or a person's life. You have no idea how your little can get multiplied. Give Jesus your little, and he will multiply it. So jump in the game. Get in it. Yeah, get out of the bleachers, the stands, and get in the game.
Absolutely. Get some skin
it's
in
more
the game.
fun. Get some skin in the game. It's more fun in the game rather than sitting in the stands.
I totally agree. Totally agree. All right. Well, you heard it here first at Now What Next Steps podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or hand gestures, please send those in to office@malibupacific.church. And we would love to have your questions. If you have any questions about the sermon this past week or past sermons, or where we're going in the sermon series, please send those into office@malibupacific.church, or to me, Joel@malibupacific.church. And we'd love to discuss any of those questions. So throw those, you can throw a softball if you want, throw a hardball, whatever you want, Andy. And we'll love to answer those questions. So again, thank you for listening to the podcast. And we have new episodes coming out every Monday. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so it just shows up straight into your wherever you get your podcast from. And it'll be ready to go for you on Mondays and Tuesdays, or whenever you listen to your podcast. So again, thank you so much for listening, and have an amazing week, everybody. Bye.
Take care.